Hello, and welcome to the SparcStart TA Leader Series, where we have the privilege of talking to some of the leading people in the industry about what they're doing, what they're thinking, what they're anticipating. And today I'm thrilled to have Lucinda join us. Lucinda, would you introduce yourself for our audience, please?
Sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Lucinda Thomas, the Director of Recruitment Strategy, Capability and Employer Branding at National Grid. I was brought into the National Grid business, one of our leading energy companies in the world, to help support the recruitment function, build their recruitment strategy, and really aim for a North Star in how we can deliver best-in-class service to our hiring managers, candidates, and more importantly, how we can attract the best talent to National Grid.
Great. And one of the reasons I've been really excited to talk to you is you're focused on individualized information. One of the things that we talk a lot about is understanding you have people in lots of different roles. In your case, you've got them in different countries, different continents, different levels of seniority. The idea that they all want the same piece of information, or even that the same piece of an employer brand is going to resonate with them, I think is a fairy tale. So listen, I'd love to hear your take on all of that.
No, I couldn't agree more. I think we work in a very complex landscape. We're in a utilities business. We have to understand that there's some skills that we don't know about that don't exist yet. So how are we meant to recruit and attract those people? Skills are evolving. And net zero and how we work with government policies. There's so many external factors that we need to consider and to make sure that we are attracting the people for our future so we can build tomorrow's workforce today. So there is no one size fits all in employer branding and attraction and how we do that. So firstly, we listen. We've got our new global career website now, which we do have a conversational navigation, which helps us understand exactly what our candidates are looking for. Is it career development opportunities? Is it roles in Buffalo? There's an array of things. So that's really helped start the conversation with my employer branding team around how do we want to build our content that matches. So one, what are our candidates saying? We also now heavily leverage workforce planning data so we have some foresight into where our recruitment activities are going to be. So that could differ from early careers, so apprentices and grads. It could be engineers. It's a large array basically. So we know that they're not all wanting the same thing depending what level they are in their career and what they want to get out of it. So my team is always on in terms of listening and trying to understand from a human perspective what do they want to know and what do they want to hear. So yeah, it's an exciting time.
Right. And it's great that you've got the input so you know that they want different things. But how do you produce content at scale? I think a lot of organizations, they have their one, 2-minute hero video that
Yeah.
talks about the company. And they get completely flummoxed about, I've got 100 different types of candidates. How do you respond with content?
Yeah, that's a really good question because I think early careers, for example, we know that they want to hear from people that are exactly like them. So we've used a lot of early careers employees and colleagues in our content just to talk about tips and tricks, maybe what the processes look like. So there's some longevity to that content. We've started to use a lot more of day in the life. So if we do have active roles, getting people that are already in those roles to showcase what does that look like? What's the culture like? What could my day-to-day look like? So we've started to produce more of that authentic storytelling directly from our colleagues and being able to access that in real time. And then also hiring manager interviews have been another way that we've personalized our content. So if a manager can showcase what the role is going to be like, you can see the hiring manager, so you know that that's the person you'll be reporting into. That's also really helped. So those have been a bit more reactive to our hiring needs. But then long term, we've started to produce content on the website around locations. So our locations aren't changing. So what does an office look like in Warwick? What does an office look like in Waltham? And produce content like that that has more longevity, but is more personal. It's more real and can really showcase what those cultures are like at each of our locations. So we're playing in a lot of spaces at the moment. There's the long-term longevity content, which we're housing a lot on our website now, and then the more reactive around roles, and then the other longevity content does look at our career development opportunities. So how can we we showcase some of our colleagues that have had long-standing careers at National Grid. What's the secret in that? Why have they stayed so long? That content really resonates with people as well.
So it sounds like that you've really got almost a master plan, if you will. That looks, I mean, have you thought about it that way of, long term, we need all the locations, we need all of this, and you're chipping away at it, putting priorities on it? How are you approaching this? Because you do seem to be moving forward on multiple fronts at once.
Yeah, so this basically started when I joined National Grid in 2023. We'd only just launched our employer brand, so we hadn't had something that set us apart within attraction. We just used the core brand. So I only had one person in my team at that point, an employer branding specialist in the UK, who was executing on more of that recruitment activities. We then recognized we needed to replicate that in the US. So now I have a US specialist, Marta, and then more recently we've got now a content specialist, which I'll get to because I think that ties in nicely. So I think once the team was formed and we had our brand out there, but there wasn't necessarily a lot of structure behind it. So at the beginning of this year, we built a employer branding strategy. So what are we going for? And it falls under 3 tiers around elevating our brand in the market. So making sure wherever we show up, it's consistent, making sure we stand out of it as an employer of choice. So using our employee stories to showcase what it is exactly like to work at National Grid. And then the other one is our business as usual, supporting the recruitment function. So once we built that plan, we really knew what we were going for, and we tied it back into what's our future strategic vision. We weren't just going out on a whim. Like, we wanted to make sure everything tied back to who National Grid is and how we're really bringing energy to life. And then more recently, we've launched our global career site in July, which is really now a house for all of our content, but it's really helped us see where the gaps are and where we can fill that as well, using more of a career website first content strategy. And that's really recent, only in the past couple of months. So we will look at that in the new year as well, how we can tie it all together. But it's a lot to do with my team structure. I think we're really fit for purpose. I think we've got a clear strategy in place. So that has allowed us to get more creative and not just be as reactive to the needs. And yeah, now having our website, we've got somewhere really nice to house everything as well.
That's great. And then the critical question, how are you measuring all of this? How do you know that you're actually landing the content where it needs to be landed?
Yes, we have a lot of metrics in place now. I think the website has enabled us to have data at our fingertips that we never normally had. So we can measure engagement on particular posts and content. So our engagement rate has gone up to about 78%, and it was at 33% prior to our new website. Time on page, time on website, that's increased from 1 minute to around 5 minutes now. So those are the little telling signs. Future state, I think quality of hire, because we know that our candidates are more equipped and they've got the right information to know that National Grid is where they want to be. So that's future state quality of hire. And then having our brand in the market, I think we've been up for a number of awards now, just a little plug there, up for a RAD, which is exciting. So I think that's also very telling externally that what we're doing is working. So there's a number, and then there's other metrics like Glassdoor and impression rate. We're measuring it in every angle now, which is exciting, because historically it was more of just a let's put things out there and hope for the best. But now we've got some really strong analytics that is showcasing what we're doing is working, and it's working really well.
And as long as we're giving plugs, let's mention your career site is Happy Dance, right?
It is.
That's which we've partnered with, and so that gives you access to data, which
Yes.
is wonderful to have that you haven't had before.
Yeah.
So looking forward to 2026. If there's one thing you want to move the needle on, what would that be?
Yeah. I recently just literally got off a team meeting where we're talking about what does next year look like for us, and I think we're in a strong position in a lot of spaces. So it's like, how can we get more creative? I think I'd like to elevate our brand at that exec level. What's it like to be a leader at National Grid? And again, reverting back to the career website and that being our house for all of our amazing content, how can we showcase that on there? And because we've only had it live just short of 6 months, there's still a lot that we want to do. We want to be having those hiring manager interviews and those days in the life pulled directly onto live job ads, etc. So I think however we can amplify business units on the website, we really want to build that out. And yeah, there's as you can tell, there's a fair few things I want to go for, but I think that exec level, how we can really promote and attract National Grid in that aspect, and then just really build out the content on our website that's authentic and bringing our colleagues to the forefront.
I love it. Lucinda, I could talk to you all day about this, although you've got a lot on your plate, so I don't want to take up the time. But if listeners are interested in learning more, can they reach out to you on LinkedIn or reach out to you? Are you open to that?
Yes, absolutely. More than happy to talk employer branding at any time with anyone. So I'd appreciate that.
Great. Thank you. And thank you for the time. Love talking to you. Thanks so much. Goodbye.
Thank you.